I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week
in Recruiting.
Oh, let's go. Yes.
This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our recruiting director here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow him, his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express, they bookended our trip to 7-on-7 because I stopped on the way, and I believe you guys stopped on the way back.
Yep. We had it. We ate it in the party van.
And let me tell you, so who was driving? You were driving.
I was. And
So
it was the perfect driving meal because you can
It
put
is
it
a
in your lap
really-
and the box stays. Like
Oh, yeah.
everything is contained.
It's
It's not like a
contained.
burger and fries are falling out.
100% agree.
So good. I even was able to dip the tendies in
Look at
gravy
you.
and ranch while I was driving.
Look at
That's
you.
awesome.
In a van, a 15-passenger van.
I feel like 7-on-7 just makes you hungry for Chicken Express.
Yes.
Oh.
Like it's like now I crave it.
Carter, at one point, we were sitting there and I was eating my chicken tenders and I'm driving the big old van with one hand and Carter goes, "Hey, Pickle, your Lano showing as you're housing Chicken Express driving this big old van."
I've got a confession to make.
Okay,
Powers.
here with a confession is Greg Powers.
What did you do?
On Friday,
Mm-hmm.
I snuck off and got a little chicken.
Did you
Little
really?
chi- little
The
chi-
In
goat!
College
a
Station?
little chickeny.
Oh my
Because
god!
College Station.
you were working on during the bracket play of Division II and Division III. You're getting a ton of
Yep.
stuff up on TexasFootball.com,
I actually was out at 6:30 in the morning. I never left until I went to Chicken Express.
and then you ran off and got chicken.
Snuck off to Chicken Express, and I have to tell you that sweet tea
What a veteran!
hit different.
What a vet!
Some people are afraid to be the best. Not
Y'all would
Greg
have seen
Powers.
me leaving if I would have left because the 15-passenger van would have been bebopping along. There was no sneaking
The
off.
meal after 7-on-7 is the only time I've ever considered the 7-piece tendy meal, which
Yeah.
always seems like such a high mountain to climb because 4-piece is perfect for me.
But you're starving because we don't really eat lunch while we're there.
I know. Anyway, we love you, Chicken Express. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise. We are going down to Austin to talk about Westlake's 2024 wide receiver Heath McCree. We saw him at State 7-on-7 this past weekend and came away pretty impressed with the I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Westlake passing attack looks pretty darn good. And he committed this week to Houston. U of H gets the services of Heath McCree. This came right before 7-on-7, I want to say.
Yeah. It was 8 days ago now.
And he was another guy that really impressed us down there in College Station.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is the guy who I'm sitting there watching at State 7-on-7 and realizing how great Texas high school football is because he's not in the Hot 100 right now. He's not in the Hot 100 right now. He did play behind Jaden Greathouse, or not behind, but Jaden Greathouse took a lot of receptions, right? Like they were feeding Jaden Greathouse, who was a 4-year starter at Austin Westlake, who signed with Notre Dame last season. Will play. I think he plays as a freshman at ND. McCree's going to step in and fill those shoes. I love this guy's game. I think he's a no doubt college contributor, potential all-conference type of player, legit speed, legit speed, terrific route running ability. And this was just like one of those hit me over the head with a stick moments to just think, wow, what a tough job this is to try to rank the top 100 when this guy's not in it. Here's my prediction. He slides in, but that means somebody has to slide out. Who would that be? Very tough job this year, but Heath McCree is a baller.
Yeah, he is a star, and Houston is getting a real gem there in Heath McCree. And he strikes me as the kind of guy that, again, because of who he was playing with last year, I think like 6 weeks in, he's going to have these crazy numbers, and people are going to be like, where'd this Heath McCree come from? It's like,
Right.
well, he was always this good. It's just like now he just gets to be in the spotlight. So congratulations to him committing to Houston. Speaking of commits, we're going to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week down in the Houston area. Another guy we saw at the State 7-on-7 tournament, Maurice Williams, the Shadow Creek safety. This was another big get for the Houston Cougars.
Go Cougs!
He flips his commitment from LSU to Houston, the number 21 prospect in the DCTF Rising Hot 100. This is Houston's highest rated commit since Ed Oliver DCTF 4-star, no doubt about it, at number 21 in the state. And this is, you want to talk about sealing the border there for Houston. This feels like a really big get, especially to go and beat, you hate to say it, but for Houston to beat LSU in their backyard, because LSU makes hay in Houston, to go and to take a guy from the Bayou and get him to stay home, that's impressive.
He'll be joining teammate Zion Taylor there, defensive end, who's also a really, really good get for UH. You kind of like categorize what the significance of this is, because you said, he's the highest rated commit since Ed Oliver. That kind of, shows you how important this was. But if you are a Houston Cougars fan, you have to head over to texasfootball.com or texasfootball.com/recruiting. Check out the interview where he discusses his commitment to Houston to see what exactly the Cougs are getting in this young man, a student athlete who is not only a terror on the field, but he's a well-spoken gentleman off the field, understands the game, and the pitch that Houston made to him to play safety and use him in multiple ways within their defensive scheme resonated with him, and it made all the difference in a decision that he wrestled with for months and months, as he put it. So go check out that interview if you're a Cougars fan. It's really good.
It is going to be a lot of fun to see him take the field. And yeah, you're right. A star in the defensive side and in the secondary there for Houston, a guy who can anchor their secondary moving forward. A huge get there for Houston as they haul in Maurice Williams, flipping him from LSU. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. On Texas Football Today, get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Let's go into our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week is another commit. And this time, talking about San Antonio Johnson, soon-to-be junior quarterback Ty Hawkins.
Let's go.
The inaugural winner of the Matt Step He Got That Dog in Him Player of the Week back in week 1 of this past season. And he committed this week to TCU. He had offers from all over, including in-state places like Baylor, Houston, and Tech, plus some other big-time offers like Oklahoma State and Oregon. He is a DCTF 4-star prospect, a true dual-threat guy. And, yeah, I'll just say it. He got that dog in him.
I have to say,
and now he got that frog in him.
Yeah, now he's got that frog. There.
Oh, no. He did something good. Darn it. I hate when that happens.
Ty Hawkins, a man who changed the trajectory and the dynamic of Texas high school football Twitter.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like, he was so good in week 1 last year that he, created a new category that now is I'm going to guess, is going to be used in perpetuity by Matt Stepp.
I was there.
He's a baller. There's no doubt about it. He was one of the best performers at the state 7-on-7 this week, and he's also a good recruiter, because I saw him working his magic with Adrian Wilson on the sidelines of the state 7-on-7 semifinal game, and the next day Adrian Wilson also committed to TCU. So Ty Hawkins isn't only I guess I can say it, he's a transcendent talent. He's a great dual threat, can bring a little bit of everything to the table. Dart thrower is how I would probably categorize his ability to pass the football. Very dangerous runner, but he's also going to be like a guy who can help rally the troops to the cause. And I think that TCU's in for a really big recruiting haul in 2025. Look for them to continue to build off the success of a national championship run, plus, projecting to have another good year in the Big 12 this year.
Here's the other thing about him. He's really good right now, and I can already see the next step. Like, he's a guy that I can see that next level, that level up. And because all of the tools are there, I think you can see that. And it's just a matter of refining everything at this point, and I can see that level up for him. He's a star right now, and one of those things is just he just has to get older. You know what I mean?
Right.
And once he kind of grows and gets more snaps under his belt, because last year's first year he was starting as a sophomore, I think this is going to look like a steal. I'm just going to be honest. Right now we got him as a DCTF 4-star, so we already think really highly of him. There may be people that this is off their radar. I think in hindsight, when we get to the end of this, we're going to be like, oh man, that Ty Hawkins ended up being the real gem, one of the real gems of the class.
I gave one of my buddies a hard time when he didn't win QB MVP at one of the camps, and I said, you just passed over Kyler Murray for MVP.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You're gonna look back on this day.
Yeah.
And you're gonna regret it.
You're not saying he's Kyler Murray. What you're saying is he was the choice, and you're gonna be like, how did we ever pass him up?
Right.
Right. I get it. Let's round it all out. Let's talk about our recruit of the week. And our recruit of the week is a very special recruit. Silsbee wide receiver Draylon Miller. big week for him. Last week, he earned DCTF 5-star status, got promoted to the 5-star prospect list, which means he's in the top 5 prospects in the class of 2024. We saw him at State 7-on-7, and we came away very impressed. And now, live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, he will be committing between A&M, LSU, and USC. Here's the I certainly want to get your take on him. Here's my comment that I would make about him in seeing him in person. He's a guy we saw at 7-on-7, and there were at least 4 or 5 times where we thought, yeah, that's a touchdown in pads. Like, how are you slowing down that freight train? And he's a game changer, man, plain and simple.
You can see him here taking snaps as a Wildcat quarterback, and this is why I made the comparison in Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, which you should pick up soon. If you haven't, you can get it. You can be a subscriber right now, texasfootball.com/subscribe. If you order this week, you will get the magazine before it hits the store shelves. So go ahead and pick that up so you can read a little bit more about Draylen Miller and what I said about him. I compared him to Deebo Samuel. He's the high school version of Deebo Samuel. He can do almost everything on the field, and when I talked to Draylen about that, he was like, that's who I'm trying to be. That was the perfect comparison to what he thought his game was. They move him around within the offensive set. They create mismatches. And Silsbee is actually a Texan Live school. So I watched a lot of Silsbee football last year. The first game I watched on Texan Live last year was actually Silsbee. And Draylen Miller had a breakout. I mean, he was already like a known commodity, right? But he had a huge breakout performance in game 1 where he showed that he was unstoppable. Like, he was a guy who could run routes. He can pick up yards after the catch. He can moss defenders in the vertical passing game. Just brings a lot to the table, and there's going to be a lot of interesting ways wherever he picks, that college is going to be able to utilize him within their offense. And he's an even better kid.
Yeah.
You know, he a great student athlete, really fun to talk to off the field, very charismatic, always has a smile on his face, loves playing football. And his father, Chris Miller, was a star at Silsbee, played middle linebacker, so there's a really cool story there in the fact that, you know, his father was also a star at Silsbee High School, and now he's a star at Silsbee High School, and he's going on to play his college football. A guy that you can't help but root good success for.
He's a guy, the word for me is smooth. Everything he does feels like he knows exactly where he's going, and if you're in the way, that seems like you're bad. He's so smooth in everything that he does. He never feels like, I don't want to say effortless, because we know he's a high effort player, but like, you can tell he's just one of those guys that it all looks so easy for him.
Right.
And that's what stands out to me. Okay, so he's going to be deciding live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, 7 o'clock Thursday night. He's going to be deciding between A&M, LSU, and USC. I'm not going to make you predict.
Okay.
Do you have a lean? What's your
how
team
about
rates
we
on
just
this?
give like a little background here, okay? This thing has been neck and neck. And I would categorize some of the huge commitments that are going on within the state right now. You have, you know, Colin Simmons, Micah Hudson, Draylen Miller, Kobe Black. You know, there's a few other guys out there, but these recruitments are going back and forth. But as some of these heavy hitters are given these pitches in June is like a jam-packed month of recruiting information right now, because that's when the official visits can really start up. That's when everybody's taking them. They're trying to figure out where they're wanting to go as the dead period comes at the end of June, you know, as soon as the last official visit weekend happens, which was this past weekend, to try to figure out where they're going to go. And everybody had their shot at him, right? Like, he went on his official visits and he saw the best that all these schools had to offer. And I think as I spoke with him at the State 7-on-7, he was a little bit torn on exactly what he was going to do. And he's so happy to talk about, like, I like to do these interviews and try to like glean some information, right? Like, can I read between the lines on, you know, what somebody's going to say or how they're going to be used within an offense that clicks up with like, that's what they want to do. And is there like a school that I could potentially root out from the, you know, the pack to say, oh, well, that's probably the favorite. This one I have, like, I really don't.
You have no feel.
I have no feel.
So,
Well, I mean, I I have a feel. I think it's going to come down to A&M or USC. But if you would ask me last week, as a matter of fact, we were discussing it in the office last week, I thought it was going to be LSU.
Okay.
So you can see, like, somebody that studies this stuff and is, like, around it all the time, I thought it was going to be LSU there for a while. Now I think it's going to be between A&M and USC. So
to be clear, right now you'd say your gut would tell you between A&M and USC. And yet, if I told you, hey, I'm from the future, and it turns out you committed to LSU, there would not be a surprise in your mind.
No. Not at all. I mean, those are 3 great programs. They all did a tremendous job. LSU has a tremendous background in the Beaumont area of recruiting tremendous talents, and especially within that footprint, as well as Texas A&M. But USC has really done a tremendous job, powered behind Lincoln Riley, to come into Texas and say, come to Hollywood, play for USC, we'll put you in the spotlight, we're moving to the Big Ten, and we'll get you paid. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a good pitch as well.
It's going down. Dave Campbell's Texan Live, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Draylon Miller will be pulling the trigger and committing live on our air at TexanLive.com and on TexasFootball.com. Another person who lives on TexasFootball.com is Greg Powers, our recruiting analyst here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter, GPowersScouts. He has fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Powers, stick around because I know you've got someone else to talk to.
Let's do it.